Oh, hello and welcome everybody. I have the pleasure of having Carlton Adams with me here today. Thank you, Carlton, for taking the time to do this interview with us. I so appreciate it very much. I'm sure you're busy and you have a lot going on, so thank you.
Thanks for having me.
And so, Carlton, we will start with uh, you know uh, very basic question is this just to get to know you a little bit for the sake of the audience, if you could share your background a little bit, that'd be great.
Sure. Well, again, thank you, Vineet. It's great to be here. And also, having worked with the Center for Supply Chain Excellence at St. Louis University for many years now, I really appreciate your leadership and it's great working with you.
Thank
In terms of flyover of my background, I'm a native Philadelphian. I
you.
always start that way. I think my father would appreciate it.
That's good.
And I've been in St. Louis now for, what is it, 13 years,
Mm,
um, and currently serve as the Chief Operating Officer for Operation Food Search, which
mm,
is a 43-year-old organization that's focused on trying to eradicate food insecurity.
mm,
Our primary well, our largest part of our
mm,
operations are food banking. So we
mm-hmm,
serve 25 counties in Missouri and Illinois through
mm,
about close to 200 partner agencies
mm.
where neighbors can come if they need
Oh,
food and pick that food up. That's a big
mm,
part of the work that we do. And so those
mm,
partnerships and that channel of distribution are critically important for us.
mm,
We have a warehouse in Overland, Missouri, um, where we receive, store, and then distribute food for both that program as well as a variety of other programs.
mm,
Uh, I'm responsible for all of our food banking, but also we have a mobile farmers market, the St. Louis Metro Market, which serves areas that are described as uh, food deserts around the St. Louis metro area. And
okay.
so we bring fresh fruit, produce, and proteins
Mm,
at subsidized low pricing to neighborhoods in need around the area.
mm,
And my final, in addition to being part of senior leadership, area of responsibility is our government and community relations, where we
mm,
try to deal with issues that require advocacy, such as the Farm Bill. And so we work with partners and legislators to address those areas. But we
mm,
also want to be in community with those that are growing food and distributing food, and how can we help improve the nutrition of what we distribute in our variety of programs, and
mm.
be in partnership with, again, growers and others in the area as we try
Oh,
to, again, address food insecurity.
wow. That's uh, that's a lot. There's a lot
Yeah,
going on.
that's a mouthful.
No, I mean it's very intriguing. And I think this is the time of the year that there'll be probably additional pressure in terms of providing to the needy families this for the holidays or Christmas and so on, correct?
Yes,
So,
absolutely true.
mhm,
One of the things that we learn as we, endeavor to do positive things in this work is that there are times of year, and some of it is cultural, where the need feels more acute. But I
mhm,
mentioned that we have close to 200 partner agencies that work directly in communities where the need is serviced.
mm,
But those agencies are run by predominantly volunteers.
mm,
So in this season of American holiday rest,
mm, mm,
those volunteers are resting as well. So a lot of
mhm.
those agencies are closed for a week or more, so
Huh.
that the folks can rest and replenish and get back to the work on a regular basis. So
Mhm,
we all stay vigilant, but we have to be connected to community.
mhm. And how many people on an average it supports this program supports uh in a week or a month, whatever the data you have, if you could just share it with us, that'll give us some perspective.
Sure, it's about 250,000 people a month.
Hmm.
that we
That's
touch. Yeah, so that's it. Again, there's no way to do that without partners. I guess just for clarity,
mm,
and I mentioned our partnerships, and the point of that is one, we're talking about supply chain, but also, food banks and food pantries are often thought of as the same thing, but they're not. Food banks are where we bring in donations, we purchase food, and we aggregate it and then distribute it through our partner
mm,
agencies.
mm.
Again, so we are kind of the head of the supply chain for a food pantry where folks, and in fact, we work with a pantry on SLU's campus.
Oh,
So students
okay.
go to Billiken Bounty Pantry, and we are one of the suppliers of Billiken Bounty Pantry as a food
Oh,
bank.
oh, that's good to know. That's good.
Hmm?
So that you mentioned about food banks and food pantries. I see. I understand the difference now. I will be honest. I didn't. I don't think I knew exactly what the difference was, but now I know. So thank you very much.
Certainly.
Uh, what is the supply chain? How is the supply chain handled, and how complex it is when it comes to all the distribution? With so many entities involved in so many different parts of the state.
Yeah, so I would say the complexity for someone that's studying supply chains at a graduate level, it's not overly complex.
Mm,
But like anything, you don't need a lot of, let's say, mathematical or statistical complexity for it to be a complex notion,
mm-hmm,
right? Or
mm-hmm.
complex operation. So
Yeah.
essentially, the Operation Food Search has some very large in-kind donors. And what that means is organizations and people that
Mm-hmm,
donate specifically food to us
mm,
as
mm-hmm,
opposed to dollars. And
mm-hmm,
like any other nonprofit, we have both, or
mm-hmm.
like a university, we have donors that donate money to us so that we can put money into programs and,
Yeah.
operational support, all of those things. But the biggest part of, if you look at our financials, is our in-kind donation. So we have very
Mm,
large donors that are commercial food system organizations, so like
mm,
grocery store chains and the
mm,
like, that
mm,
donate food to us. So we will go and pick it up. Sometimes they deliver to us.
mm,
But with that type of donor, an
mm,
additional part of the supply chain is that we have arrangements with those organizations. Again, they're partners of ours and donors to us,
mm-hmm,
that allow for our agency partners to go directly to their stores and
mm.
pick up donations.
I see.
So, right,
Okay.
so that takes a link out of the supply chain. So the faster, because we're talking about, and all food is not immediately perishable, but
Right.
especially when we talk about produce and the like, and proteins, we wanted,
Yep.
we wanted to get as soon as possible to the neighbors that we wanted
Right.
to distribute it to. So if we can take Operation Food Search as a
Mm,
stop out of that chain,
mm-hmm.
then it makes the supply chain that much more efficient.
Yeah,
Um,
that makes sense. Mm-hmm.
we also work with farmers, and we're trying to grow that because investing in local production and growing is
Mm,
important to us, as well as we think about mission and
mm-hmm.
impact that we can have on the region. So that's also a part of our supply chain. So
Mm,
we have, again, the commercial food system makes donations. We do some purchasing as we have funding opportunities, i.e., grants. If
mm,
Again, we're
mm-hmm.
talking in a nonprofit world, we'll apply for grants. They may be
Yeah.
local, they could be statewide, federal, all
Okay.
of the like, and may determine how and to whom we can distribute. But it also helps us, again, to invest in the community. So, as an example,
Mm, yeah.
one part of our supply chain is focused on Illinois, and the
Uh-huh.
program is a national program. It's a national grant program coming
Okay.
through the USDA,
Mm,
and we won grant money to buy and distribute food in the Illinois counties that we serve. It's only two counties, but uh,
mm,
and 23 agency partners that we're working with there. But everything that we're distributing to them during this grant period
Yeah.
is purchased mostly, if not entirely, from local growers.
Ah,
So it does a couple of things. One, money, as you can imagine, a lot of the donations that you get to a food bank may be, again, items that can sit on the shelf, they're in cans and that type of
yeah.
thing. But you also get stuff that's maybe not at the highest nutrition value. But when
Mm,
we're buying food, like
yeah.
for this grant as an example, which is called Illinois Eats, we're
Okay.
buying proteins, produce. We're going directly to farmers, so it's doing a couple of things.
Mm,
It's enriching the local growers
yeah.
and distributors of food.
Yeah.
It's we're delivering high nutrition content food to those agencies that we're able to distribute to as a part of this program. And
Right.
so, it's created a boon for us. So, as an
Excellent.
example,
Mm,
we have with one of our, again, local grocers, we have a program that we work with them on to distribute essentially Thanksgiving meals. And we've
okay.
been doing that in Missouri with that partner for several years now.
Mm,
But with this grant, we did it in Illinois with a partner agency. We
okay.
had turkey, so with turkey as well as some sides, locally produced and delivered to us. And we had that event in Illinois for the first time this year.
Wow. That's wonderful. It's good to hear. I'm sure these grants are of great help, to fulfill the need. Uh, you know, that's great. We talk about supply chain. What are the areas of supply chain you think are most relevant and prominent in your area?
So the warehouse logistics and just logistics in general are critically important for us.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that having had a long career in for-profit industry, or maybe half of that in supply chain areas, as
Mm-hmm.
working as a chief procurement officer and some other roles. Um, uh, we are in the process of finishing the installation and implementation of Operation Food Search's first ever warehouse management system.
Oh, wow,
So
wonderful. Okay.
yeah, so very excited about that. But
Yeah.
I also always joke, welcome to the '90s. But
Yeah.
it's important for us. So really, we existed for many years, really with just the knowledge of very in tune and intuitive
Hmm.
warehouse manager, understanding where everything was. But
Yeah.
we also just done a renovation in this past year and doubled our storage capacity, both
Wow.
shelf stable as well as cold storage. So
Oh.
we're implementing the system, so we are tracking everything coming in,
Mm.
all the putaways and all the distribution. We're implementing barcoding,
Mm.
and so just to make a long story short, I mean
Yeah.
that piece of uh, supply chain management is critically important for us
Yeah.
because we weren't other than the feedback that we got and reports that we
Hmm.
got from our agency partners,
Hmm.
we weren't tracking as accurately and precisely,
Hmm.
everything that went out the door.
Hmm.
So, if there was a recall or something, we were making probably a lot more calls than we needed to,
Oh,
just to
yes.
make sure, product got off the shelf or if it had already been distributed, neighbors were made aware. But we'll also be able to do things like ordering. Our
Hmm.
our warehouse distribution process was really designed around the capabilities and ease of use of Operation Food Search instead of the community.
Okay.
But if you are going to be a community partner that wants to have impact, that's not
Hmm.
how you design anything. And it has to be, in the for-profit world, we'd say customer centric.
Yes.
Uh, in our world, it's mission centric. So we
Right.
want to be able to, service agencies, some that have more resources than others.
Yes.
But we've never really done deliveries, and we're looking at that being a part of what we do. I mean,
Mm.
obviously, the store pickups are easier in a lot of in a lot of ways, but at the
Hmm.
same time, all of our agency partners don't have box trucks.
Right.
Almost
Right.
almost no one has refrigerated trucks, and some are
That's right.
coming in sedans to pick up food from us, and they
Yeah.
have to come all the way here. So
Yeah.
we're looking at a more equitable, excuse me, model of
Hmm.
distribution, and
Yeah.
challenging ourselves to go out and really make a difference in different ways that are
Mm.
more tailored to what the community is telling us that we need,
Yeah.
that they need, I
Yeah.
should say.
Yeah. That's good to know. I'm glad that you are implementing warehouse management system and that you will be able to track in case if there's a recall, you will be able to quickly track it
Yep.
instead of taking several hours or even days sometimes and
Yep.
making numerous calls. I think that's going to be a big advantage. So kudos to you and your team.
Thank you.
Um, well, now that for St. Louis University students, especially the ones that are focusing on supply chain management, what would be your advice to them?
Well, supply chain, and I'm old enough, Vineet, this is before your time. Well, I don't know what consultant or from what big consulting company came up with supply chain, but in the old
Mhm,
days, we just talked about logistics and distribution and, the, uh, bringing into the notion of supply chain and bringing it into academic relief has really created a lot of opportunities. I think the
mhm,
most uh, important thing that I would advise students now is, really think about what you want to accomplish in this work.
mhm,
It can lead you to a number of things. As I described, my role, and I didn't mention, but my academic background is an undergraduate degree in industrial engineering,
mm,
and then a master's in business administration or an MBA,
mhm,
which now as the chief operating officer, because I worked kind of across the P&L,
mhm,
it has prepared me for this moment.
mhm,
Um, and I'm working in an area that I feel passionate about. I feel excited about the work. And,
mhm.
I would make that an objective. Maybe your first job is teaching you how to use the tools,
Yeah.
and how to develop your um, supplier and customer engagement skills.
Mhm.
But where is it that you ultimately want to go? You're
Yeah.
spending, your investment is very steep. I mean, even if
Mhm.
you have scholarships that pay for all of your education, you're
Right.
investing your time, and
Right.
none of us
Exactly.
get in. We don't get to manufacture any more time. So
That is true.
yeah, so don't take that for granted. And I know
Yeah.
that it's nothing against anything that I did in my career.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of opportunities to learn a lot of different things from a
Mhm.
lot of different people, and I'm very, very thankful for that. But
Right.
in this moment, for me, I'm pursuing passion,
Mhm.
and the sooner that you can lock in on what that might be, I think
Mm.
the work that you and the education that you get investing in understanding supply chain, and how that connects to
Mm.
strategy, how it connects
Mm.
to customers, all the way through to
Mm.
suppliers, um, the connectedness and the understanding of what's important to a warehouse manager as opposed to a manufacturing manager,
Yeah.
and the things that she can teach you. I
Mhm.
think all of those things are critically important. They are all lessons to take forward.
Mhm.
And as odd as it sounds, I mean, before we started recording, I mentioned to you, Vineet, my son graduated from the University of Missouri, and we were talking
Mhm.
supply chain in a number of his coursework. I said, wait a
Uh-huh.
minute, I get to pay for this and teach? What are we doing?
Yeah. Oh boy. That's funny. Yeah. No, I think that's a very good point. I mean, there are a few things that resonated with me. Finding your passion. The sooner you find your passion, the better. And obviously, it's a steep learning curve. You're spending a lot of time, and the time is something that you can't get. You can't manufacture, as you said. And once the time passes, it passes.
Absolutely.
And I think every opportunity that a student gets is a blessing.
Yes.
If you want to make the most of it, uh, do so. Don't waste these blessings. Don't waste these opportunities. I think these
Can
are
I say
very good
one other thing,
points.
Vineet?
Yes,
Yeah, again, as a father,
yes,
I would also say, and we're both fathers, but you can be both ambitious and patient,
yes,
right?
yes,
Because
yes.
there is a lot in every position that you take. There
Mm,
is a lot to learn, and you can mine all of that
mhm,
opportunity, but
mm,
also be ambitious and have
mhm,
big goals for yourself, whether they're organizational goals,
mhm,
financial goals, whatever they
mm,
may be.
mhm.
Um, but also live in the moment and take in those learnings as they come.
Yeah, very good. I love it. You can be ambitious and patient at the same time. That's very good. I think and that makes a lot of sense. I mean, if you're ambitious but you don't have enough patience, you might end up doing things which are not right or ethical. Uh, you rather have a patience, and if you do, you will eventually get to where you want to be. That's how universe works, I suppose.
I think that's right.
Any last few things or advice that you want to give to our audience, Carlton? We would really appreciate it.
Uh, I guess just finally, I'm very excited about the growth and the investment in supply chain and supply chain knowledge. We learned a lot about the impact of broken supply chains or kind of wounded supply chains during lockdown and the
Yep.
global pandemic,
Yeah.
and how important that is to us. So the
Yes.
more that we understand that, I think the better for all of us.
Mm.
There are a lot of ways to get that understanding. That's not always, a degree program, but I think we're all better for understanding that. And again, there are great opportunities out there. I'm very excited for those that are students, full time, part time, and future.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree with you more. Thank you so much. Well, that ends the segment. And once again, Carlton, I know you're very busy. You have a lot going on. You have a massive team to take care of, and so thank you for taking the time. Really appreciate it. And we'll stay in touch. And if there's anything else that we can do, please reach out.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good one. Mhm.
You
Take
too.
care. Bye.